Hi, this is the Tolkien Curmudgeon. I've been thinking that maybe I should do two short videos for each episode of The Rings of Power. Anyway, the last episode was season 2, episode 6, and I might, reference a few other things that happened before that too. But anyway, I don't really like going into great detail, so and I like to keep it kind of short. So maybe two videos might be good. Anyway, first of all, I'd like to address what do they mean by, the faithful of Numenor. In this show, it seems to be kind of distorted. It doesn't mean being faithful to the practice of some kind of organized religion, and it doesn't mean being faithful to one claimant of the throne as opposed to another. Being faithful, being one of the faithful, I think means to follow the ancient traditions of Numenor, to be friends of the elves, to reverence Eru, and under Eru, the Valar. It means remembering that the island of Numenor really was a gift to the Edain from the Valar as a reward for having turned against Morgoth and fought with the elves in their struggles against him. This show makes the practices and beliefs of the faithful unappealing. Don't the showrunners want us to identify with the faithful? How can we, if the show invents such horrible and barbaric customs such as trial by sea dragon, or that departed souls cannot be free if we don't properly perform some ritual with a statue of Nienna? These things do not help us sympathize with the faithful. It makes them seem barbaric and superstitious. When I saw in trailers this sea dragon thing, I assumed it was going to be one of the terrible practices invented by the King's Men. I thought maybe it'd be the way the show was going to depict Pharazôn's usurpation of the scepter. But it turns out that we're supposed to see this trial by sea monster as a tradition of the faithful. No. Anyway, this scene had other problems as well. At the bottom of this rocky pool, you can see like white. So it looks very shallow, not connected to the sea. So while I was watching, I was waiting for the monster to kind of maybe like jump over the rim of the rocky rim there and drag Muriel out to sea or something like that. I was shocked when suddenly we see Muriel right in front of the monster. How did that happen? And then Muriel at times seems to be able to see. Isn't she supposed to be blind in this show? How did this happen? I mean, how did she arrive at the trial? Does she have some kind of guide? I didn't see any. Why does she seem to look around at things sometimes like she can see? Anyway. And why the heck do they have Elendil and Muriel sort of falling in love? They should have made Pharazôn a young, handsome, good-looking warrior, a strong man that was admired by all the people. And then he turns bad. Well, anyway. And also with no beard. Hardly anyone ever points out that in the lore, the royal line of Numenor, they didn't have beards. And I guess, the Gondorian royal line didn't either. So guess what? Aragorn didn't have a beard. Because why? Because they were descended from the half-elven. Okay, well, anyway, the last thing I want to talk about is the bats of Disa. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So Disa summons bats, and then, and then during the fourth turn's tour, after they all fly through, and he says, "I love you." Really? Well, I sure didn't love this. Summoning bats feels utterly weird. They're really, really, really big bats, and they don't attack. They just fly through, scaring all the other dwarves away. Well, why do they run away? If the bats are evil, how can Disa summon them in the first place? And if the bats aren't evil, then why are the dwarves so scared by them? They don't attack them, they just fly through, and they all run away. Finally, I've been waiting for the past couple of years to see this statue of Feanor, since it was leaked in some set photos like quite some time ago. And now we get to see it. And I'm sorry, but it's hideous. His gown has no naturalism whatsoever. You know, like no beautiful supple folds of drapery like I would imagine like ancient Greek statues had. Anyway, apparently this show also, they try to show that the colored parts of the marbling. So there's this streak that goes through Feanor's forehead of color. It looks terrible. And are they trying to show like that he's a flawed character or something? Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, Feanor was a very, very flawed character, but this is supposed to be a statue put up in the city of the grandson of Feanor. They should be idolizing him like a hero. But Feanor's face is lined with wrinkles on his forehead and his cheeks. Why? You know, wouldn't you say that Feanor actually died kind of young for an elf, and he lived most of his life in the Undying Land, so he should appear pretty much ageless and youthful. But no, he looks old, just like his grandson Celebrimbor. And he's holding this thing that's supposed to be the Silmaril. And it is a really poor representation of the Silmaril. It's, in my opinion, totally the wrong shape, wrong color. I mean, it shouldn't be opaque white. It should be some amazing translucent thing with rays of gold and silver. Yeah, well, you know, it's a sculpture, so they could have had the gold and silver rays sort of abstractly depicted with those metals, but they didn't. You know, Tolkien did actually illustrate the Silmaril once, and you can see that it was round. But no, it's this really strange shape. I don't know what they were trying to do there. It's all wrong. This show, well, I have to keep watching. I have to keep watching. I want to know what they're doing, even if what they're doing is terrible. Anyway, thanks. Bye-bye.